Well, hi there. Here we are on Thursday, July the 9th. Interesting thing, trust everybody's fine and everything's going well. They're as well as can be expected. And everybody's trying to poke their heads out of this mess that the Western world is in with our lockdowns and shutdowns and what have you. And it's been interesting. You know, everybody makes mistakes, I suppose. You gotta sort of hand it to that. But the only ones who are being held accountable are the police forces. The medical people who are making mistakes, using ventilators when they shouldn't, sending people into the care homes where a lot of the deaths have occurred. Nobody's being really held accountable there. And the World Health Organization, nobody's being held accountable there for their misinformation. But hey, it's all good. Everybody makes mistakes, and I guess the only thing with this mistake, it could cost the Western world its a whole lot, as our economies are still really struggling. It's interesting. So as I started to look at this, and now I was looking at the shadow governments, and starting to sort of dig into that and try to peel the onion back a bit, or peel a shadow back into its layers. And an interesting thing happened is that, you know, as you start to peel back the shadow and sort of search through the ashes and the bones, it's interesting. It took me back to 1665, according to a rabbi who was doing a course on Zevi, or 1666 to another writer who was documenting it. And I'm not sure why one used 1665 and one used 1666. Maybe because there's more impact on the sixes, or maybe there's just some error. Not sure, because it's quite a long time ago, obviously. But it's interesting because Zevi was sort of, in a sense, a crazy guy. I'll put several links below, and he died, and then Frank took over. They said he was an incarnation of Zevi. These fellows said they were the second coming, and according to their philosophy. And well, Frank was even a bit crazier than Zevi. And well, I call it crazy because it's just against all convention. And in a sense, it reminds me of today. I mean, when you look at the politically correct crowd, I mean, freedom of speech boys and gals, I mean, it's crazy. And so anyway, their whole philosophy was to go against what was supposed to be right and ethical and following the tenets of their religion, to do the exact opposite, and just to go crazy. And they both did that. And it's interesting because Frank ended up with ran into Rothschild, Meyer Rothschild, the beginning of the Rothschild empire was this guy. He had 5 sons who he sent to corners of Europe, and morphed into the Rothschilds of today. And there was another guy, I think Weisenput, maybe I'm pronouncing that wrong. You'll see it in the links. And they formed a secret society called the Illuminati. Of course, everybody's heard about the Illuminati. And then they started to infiltrate everywhere in their time, and even into the Muslim organizations, into the Freemasons, and into a lot of other secret societies. And it was interesting because the most powerful Rothschild now is out of London. It sort of is the major power behind the scenes. And of course, there's Rothschilds in the States as well. Interesting take, Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, and Carnegie. They were doing a deal, and this is really short form. You'll see more in the links. They were doing a deal, needed money, and tapped the Rothschilds. And the rest is history. Although some sides say the Bolsheviks sort of infiltrated the Rockefellers, but the Rockefellers are still there. And that is, now we call that the guys who are sort of heading up this new world order idea, or the UN Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, Agenda 2050. The Bill Gates, let's vaccinate the World Foundation. It's all interesting. And even Epstein and Maxwell work into this thing, supposedly as members of Mossad. And it's totally intriguing. If a movie is made about this, most people would line up. I probably wouldn't, because I don't go to a lot of movies, but I do the digging myself and try to find out. So just take a look at these links if you have the time. The first one is a short one. I think there's one that's like 3 minutes. And now I'm trying to check into the writer who is doing this, because you want to see where he's coming from as well. And haven't completed that. But a lot of people think he's a wacko, but it's interesting stuff. When you look at the U.S. in particular, well, you can look at Canada too. I mean, Trudeau smiles and dances on cotton candy when you mention this sort of thing, United Nations and that. He sort of goes all twiffy and hangs out with the upper end, and it gives one the feeling that the Canadian in Canada, we're sort of done. They're the sort of the puppets of the New World Order. I mean, our stage is sort of set. It's sort of a bummer. That's why I'm concerned with the U.S. If something goes sideways there, we're really in getting our ass handed to us in a bucket sort of thing. And and again, I know most people don't want to take the time to sort of go through all this. But if you do, you'll see why I say you can get your butt handed to you in a bucket. It's not cool. But when I look at Schiff and you look at Pelosi and you look at some of these people, the senator, it's just something's not right there. You know, when you look at Schiff and Pelosi, how these people just totally led us a line of BS regarding the Russian-Trump collusion thing. And of course, the British courts have come down with the ruling that Christopher Steele, the guy who put that dossier together, had totally just sort of put a bunch of innuendo and rumors together, that he hadn't fact-checked anything. And they came out right to the courts and said that he actually was working for Hillary Clinton. So all you people who thought that Trump was guilty and should have been impeached for that, and that he got off scot-free and he sort of manipulated. Well, it's interesting because Steele's organization has just been fined a nominal fee, £18,000. And really, his credibility is in the toilet. It's been flushed, actually. So it's interesting as just a quick look at to see what why can't, when Kennedy got assassinated, when Macduff got, the guy they call the codename Macduff was assassinated, Kennedy's man in the CIA. Well, not publicly stated that he's assassinated, but they figure that he was killed. Why is that? What is the secret society that Kennedy was talking about? And so I started, that's where we started digging. And it's interesting because as you started to peel back the layers of the shadow, and like I say, just searching through the ashes and the bones, it's amazing where we ended up at how we ended up at the Illuminati and all this thing. And I'm wondering, and Mossad, and it ties into what George Webb talks about, the 100 blackberries and the weapon stashes around, and how Epstein was delivered weapons. That was his main function. Interesting. Well, anyway, so that's a break and whatever else I was doing today. It's been a while that I've been looking at this, and I'll put the links down. And here's the thing: if you think they're wrong, kick the hell out of them, because that's the whole idea. That's how you get somewhere with an idea and a thought, is to not be afraid to kick it about. It's crazy, totally crazy. Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.